blocked, y'all. It was blocked. So I guess the system don't want me to do this video, but I'm gonna get this video in. So I've been decluttering and cleaning and everything, and um, I got a download as I was setting up my station to do watercolor. So I'm about to do some little watercolor practice. But the creator told me to be happy to be an outsider, like willingly be an outsider. Now I'm going to explain what I mean by willingly being an outsider. Okay. All right. We're going to get into that as soon as we get more people in here. I do want to get some incense going. I tried to talk to y'all about this in the last video, but it was blocked. I could tell. So hopefully we'll get more people in here and I could get this discussion going as I'm painting practice. Okay. So get your paintbrushes out and we can talk about why it's important to be an outsider. Okay. So what I found out, being an outsider is actually you being an insider. Okay. An insider, according to the metaphysical world and the cosmic energy and the energy of God, the creator of all energy. So you're actually being an insider when you be an outsider. Okay. Now, before I talk about being an outsider, I want to talk about the rules of being an outsider. Okay. While I'm painting, y'all, while I'm painting. So let me just move this back so y'all can kind of watch me do some painting here. So basically, the first rule of being an outsider is that you do not talk about being an outsider. You know, like the rules, the rule first rule of Fight Club. You do not talk about Fight Club. Basically, when you're an outsider, you're actually fighting back without fighting back, like saying I'm fighting back. So you're still you're going to be in a more intense fight in society because you're choosing to be an outsider. But being an outsider is healthy for you in every way. Okay? So the first rule of the outsider club is you don't talk about being an outsider. If you tell people you're being an outsider, guess what's going to happen? People are going to start copying and trying to see what you're doing, and then another type of insider outsider club is going to form. So you don't talk about being an outsider. When you become an outsider, know that the insiders are not going to like that you're an outsider. They're going to try to sabotage it. They're going to gaslight you about it. They're going to say that you're an outsider because you're a problem, not because you chose. You're just saying you chose to be an outsider. You're an outsider because you really don't belong. You're a problem. That's what the insiders are going to say. That's why you do not talk about being an outsider. Okay. All right. Also, insiders like to take from outsiders. So when you say you're an outsider, the insiders start watching you even more. Okay. So first rule of being an outsider, you do not talk about being an outsider. Um, Second rule of being an outsider is that you do not determine how to be an outsider until you have studied the insiders. So don't just do some stuff thinking this is me an outsider, because you may actually be doing things that all the majority of the insiders are doing. So you're still trying to be an insider. So you need to investigate the majority of the insiders, what they're doing, so you know what not to do. Okay, that's the second rule. Investigate the insiders. Okay, but don't tell them you are. Third rule of being an outsider is that you have to customize your own outsideness. Don't try to do what other outsiders are doing. Even though you're in a group of other outsiders, and you know this because y'all have one thing in common. Y'all are not doing what the majority of insiders are doing. But still, you have to be separate, but still in the outsider club. So you have to have your own customized outsider lifestyle. Okay. Now, hi everybody. Now, one way to become an outsider, y'all, hold on for a minute. Let me put this out. One way to become an outsider is to go back over your life and see how you have wasted money and time being an insider, trying to be an insider. See, whenever you try to be an insider, you will always spend more of your energy and your money than the people who are already on the inside. So, in order to figure out how you have been maybe passively trying to be an insider, you have to go over the obstacles that are in your life. Because when you are less trying to be an insider, you actually have less obstacles. This is getting deep, okay? This content is not for fair use, shall not be used without my express permission. So I'm doing petals here, y'all. So I'm starting light. I realize I've been doing things wrong with the watercolor. I needed to start off light to dark. We're going to continue though. Hey. I'm just doing some petals here. Now, another thing I found out about being an outsider is that people tend to become more competitive with you because you tend to come off like you got more energy than they do. So people start wanting to do what you're doing. So this is why even when you're around other outsiders, you still have to be discreet about your outsider choices. Okay? Still have to be discreet about it. So y'all, I'm just doing petals here. Let y'all hear. All right, we're going to get more into this topic, y'all. But one way to know whether you're even doing things that outsiders do is if you're getting a lot of attention. If you're getting a lot of attention and respect out here, then you're probably doing insider stuff. Y'all, I be wild. So I'm getting better at these petals, y'all. Woo, child. I just got to make them closer. Okay. So if you feel like people are looking at you weird, then you're probably doing something that outsiders do. This brush ain't the best brush, but it's going to work for what I'm trying to do here. Okay. All right, my watercolor skills are getting better, y'all. I'm starting to be more confident here with this. Taking my time. So, for example, first of all, I feel like this. If you feel like you've been under a lot of stress, you're very stressed out, anxiety, overwhelmed, then you've probably been trying to be an insider. Seriously, y'all. I find that, okay, this is still a little bit too thick, but it's looking better. My petals are looking better, y'all. Look at my petals. My petals are better. See the 3D look? Okay. I do need a smaller brush. Next time I'm going to draw it in. But I'm just practicing petal work, y'all. Okay. So, if you've been feeling like you can't stop trying to fit in, like you care about what people think. First off, you care about what people think, you're trying to fit in. You're trying to be an insider. Let's keep it real. Okay. All right. Let's not act like that's not why you care what people think. Okay, you know that's why. So I find that You can't even get to a point where you don't care what people think until you have a action plan to be an outsider. Okay, that's why some people keep on fighting with caring what people think. They say, I can't stop caring about what people think. Well, it's because you're not doing things that says you're an outsider. Okay? Now, we've all been programmed as kids to want to be a part of the popular group. Okay? Chasing the energy that gets all the claps. We all been programmed to do that. So it may take some time for you to deprogram your mind from wanting to fit in. But I think it starts first with self-care. Okay? I think once you change stuff about you with your self-care that says I'm an outsider. I think that like other areas of your life, when you're trying to be an outsider, that comes a little easier. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of brown to this red, maybe to get some aging. Okay, so for example, this is very outsider like what I'm doing. Most people when they first start when they first start doing watercolor art, they're trying to do full pictures. They're trying to, catch up if they started late. But I find that that's trying to fit in still. That's still trying to fit in. So for me, I'm not doing that. I'm doing micro practices. I find that also doing things very, very slow is you being an outsider. The society's opinion of what's fast, of what's slow. Of what's slow is actually still fast. That's how I feel about it, y'all. Hi, everybody. Okay. So, if you ever notice, some of the most famous people were outsiders. Let's use Hemingway as an example. Hemingway was a loner, believe it or not. Only time he really was around people, and it was normally around other artists, is when they were working on a project, or he was on a hunting expedition or something like that. Other than that, Hemingway was pretty much a recluse. Okay. He realized that what you're trying to achieve is a blood sport. It doesn't matter if it's writing, singing, it's all a blood sport. And most people are not going to fight your battle like you. So you might as well do it alone, like for real. You don't need dead weight. Like you don't need people that's only half, little bit, like fighting a little bit for you. You need people that's willing to go all the way. And I hate to tell y'all, most people just ain't willing to do that. Okay, they're not. So you might as well let yourself be an outsider. Okay, my petals are looking better. Most things you're trying to succeed in do require you to be an outsider. If you're writing that bestseller, if you're growing your hair long, if you're painting something, it all requires you to be an outsider. Because there's sacrifices that you have to make for your success that increases the outsiderness. Y'all. And so, I'm going to do me a little bouquet, y'all. I feel like doing a bouquet. So, this is why it's important. This is why it's important to just say, I'm going to go ahead and just be an outsider. For example, if you're trying to write your best-selling book, you darn sure ain't thinking about dressing up. You're not thinking about how fancy your hair is, how nice your clothes is. You're not thinking about that. But the insiders who is protected by this corrupt system, they're thinking about that. Your corrupted, toxic family members who are protected, they're thinking about that. Okay? But if you're trying to succeed, you can't think about that. Like I'm sure when Picasso was doing his Picasso paintings, he really wasn't thinking about what the insider people were thinking about. He wasn't doing what they were doing. And that's just the fact, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bouquet here. I feel like I wanted to do a little bouquet to see what happens. But yeah, so I realized, I'm like, if all my family members are giving all these gifts on Christmas, why am I doing that? Like, I know that that's the insider thing, okay? And I know that if I try to fit in and be the insider, they're gonna say, well, you have to spend more money on gifts. You have to do more. Like, I know they're going to say that because I'm not automatically already in. For real, if you're not automatically already in, the bill is higher for you. Okay, the bill is higher. So that's just something that I learned. You put a little bit of water. Why is this page drying, y'all? I'm just doing some painting practice while I'm talking to y'all. So yeah, I realized that. I said, when I showed up little in my family, I wasn't automatically in. I already sensed that they was cracking the whip on me harder than everybody else. So I knew right then that um most likely I probably need to go ahead and accept that they said outsider. And I'm gonna tell you, when the creator decides you to be an outsider, it's definitely for a higher reason, a very special reason. Okay? There could be something you're meant to achieve that the creator's trying to protect, and that's why the creator want you to be an outsider. Y'all, I'm just doing this bouquet here. Some of y'all know I've been into bouquets lately, so I've been seeing like how I could um make them mine. Sorry if I'm stopping y'all while I'm talking, because I'm just trying to concentrate for a minute. But yeah, so I found out that it's harder to be an outsider than an insider. Y'all, I know some of y'all like, I disagree. It's harder to be an outsider, y'all. If you ever notice, your attacks come worse. Like, people almost can sense that you're not trying to fit in. And so it's almost like they try to gaslight you. Like, that's like they try to make you think that it's stupid for you to even think of being an outsider. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, um, you know that, let's do this light blue, y'all. You know that they only saying that because you don't want to be with them. You don't want what they got. And but they're never admitted that that's the only reason why they saying that's stupid for you to be an outsider. You're not gonna make it. Your ego is hurt because you don't want what they got. That's just the truth, y'all. You don't want the audience that they got. You don't want Um, y'all, let me mix some black with some blue here without mixing my paints. So I I thought I did put some black in there. So I did me a little bouquet. It's soaking through, and I don't know why. I think the paper was already wet. I'm gonna let y'all see it in a minute. But I'm getting good at these bouquets. But yeah, what I'm doing right now, people don't do. Like I'm telling you, like most people today, they're just sitting there talking on YouTube. That's what they doing, y'all. Okay, they're not they're not actually having fun while they talking. When we were kids, we had fun while we talked. We didn't just sit up there and just talked out of tension. Unless the teacher called us in school, it wasn't something that we did. Um, so yeah, I'm just yeah. Y'all gonna see the picture in a minute. It's just doing some little. Trying not to fill in the space so much. So y'all did a little fun bouquet here. As soon as it dries, I'll let y'all see it. I'm gonna do another one when with the paper not so wet. Because she said it has to be a little drier. Okay. All right. Let me put this over here because I do like that I'm learning the bouquets. But anyway, see what I'm doing right now? This is outsider stuff. People are so obsessed. The world is so obsessed with consuming intelligence that they don't forget that you can still create even while you're being taught. Okay? You don't have to stand and sit out of tension when you're learning, when you're practicing something. I remember back in high school, we used to play our instrument and stop and talk and play our instrument and stop and talk. Now everybody just like only talk, 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 talk. And to me, that's like, okay, it sounds like you're trying to be an insider. You're trying to be an insider. I went for a walk today and I saw everybody walking the same direction. I saw they was walking on the same path. Okay? They was wearing, they was they was all wearing workout clothes, like the little skinny tight sheer leggings and stuff. They was wearing that. All the women was wearing real thin work clothes. It was like, to show off their purse. They was trying to show their figure with these real thin workout clothes on. Like dance outfits, leggings. And I'm thinking they're all trying to be an insider. They're all walking the same direction. They're walking on the same path. They're wearing similar clothes. And I'm like, really? I saw all the men with hoodies on. I saw, this is no lie, y'all. Everybody was working out on one side of the park. I said, you know what? People don't even realize that becoming a insider requires you to be a robot. Is to let complete strangers. Just think about it. When you let movies and TV and YouTube program you, you're letting complete strangers. You're letting complete strangers tell you what you need to look like. And half the world don't even know why they like something. They just say, Oh, I like it. But you know, you've been seeing all those people wear the same thing, and that's why you like it. You've been seeing all them different type of bodies with that outfit on. Most people wouldn't even like what they got on if they didn't see everybody else wearing it. Like, I don't really see too many people where I'm at walking around with an afro in their hair. Like, I don't. Okay. So that's how I know me wearing my afro is me being an outsider. You know, some of y'all say this system is corrupt, but you can rebel by being an outsider. You don't have to stand outside and have a horn to rebel. You can do that. You can do that through, I don't know what happened right there, but let's see here. Okay. But yeah, I find that we don't realize what protest is. Protest is also like, I'm not going to look like everybody else. I'm not going to talk like the majority. It you know, we are, most of us, we only know protests standing out and saying lesser taxes, higher pay. That's what we see protests as. But it's more than that, y'all. Finding out how everyone's programmed and then you saying, I'm gonna do the opposite. Now that's getting into that's getting into like, okay, I'm being I'm being an outsider. Everyone knows how to be an outsider. A lot of people are just scared. That's just the truth. Okay. So I did this next bouquet, y'all, because I felt like I wanted to do something different. Okay. The teacher was saying add some leaves and some stuff between, like go between it too. Okay. Let me add some orange there. This one's turning out nice. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. Over some lucid colors. I do want some yellow in there. Okay. Why ain't y'all doing watercolor? Y'all know watercolor is like the ultimate therapy. And it always surprises me that so many other people don't do, so many people aren't doing watercolor. Like, see, we're living in a world where everyone's scared of judgment. So they're like, oh, I'm not doing that because I'm not that good on it. Why do you have to be good at anything? It sounds like you're still trying to fit in, still trying to be an insider. Y'all, okay. So y'all, my picture's looking nice. If I get a little quiet, y'all, it's because I'm learning how to use this brush and I'm liking it, y'all. Like we'll talk. Okay. All right. So I'm just doing a little bit of blending here. Add some green into the I was watching a video on doing flower pots and blending, and I think I didn't figure it out how to do it. I'm sure I could do better, but I'm just enjoying the process. So I don't want to be a insider. Being an insider is actually quite boring, y'all. Y'all said something. It's boring. Have y'all ever looked at the insiders? They look like they're bored and trying to act like they're not. Okay, that's what I see. I see a bunch of people trying to act like they're not bored. And they know that they're doing all that stuff. The way they're trying to be a insider, way they trying to stay an insider, they know they're only doing that because they really bored with their life, y'all. Wow, it's amazing. Like I feel like I'm doing better because I'm talking to y'all. If that makes any sense. I wasn't even doing this good on my basket, on my stuff until I started talking to y'all. Y'all should have added some blue in there. Dang. She said add some blue. I think so we don't. And I'm just letting the colors bleed. Whatever. Okay. I don't know what's happening with that color, but y'all, this is looking good. I'm trying not to force it to I'm trying not to force the colors to go. But when it's dry, this is gonna look really good. I'm actually gonna hang this picture up. This one I'm hanging up. Okay. I just gotta not disturb it. It just needs to dry. Okay. All right, y'all. I might let y'all see the picture. Hold on, y'all. Y'all want to see the picture? Okay. There it is. It just has to dry, y'all. So that's my little impressionism of a bouquet here. I could have had less on here, but it is what it is, y'all. But when it dries, it's gonna look nice because all those weird colors then blended. Put that aside. Okay. So I hope y'all got y'all crayons out and stuff. Some of y'all sitting around running y'all mouth on lunch break, trying to talk to coworkers, trying to talk to people. When that's trying to be an insider, y'all. Talk while you create. You know, I feel like this. Time is a resource, and you got to get the most out of it. As much as we say multitasking is toxic. That's what some people say. Multitasking It's easy to do when you're doing two different things that don't that don't steal energy from each other. So talking to you is not stealing energy from my painting. There's people on YouTube that's actually talking to people as they paint. So I think we're living in a world where everybody's like, if I can't be an expert at it and I can't get rich from it, it's not worth doing. But you know what people don't realize? Those are the things that you actually need to help you do something that you can get rich off. But yet you're not doing those things. That's like saying I don't need knights. That's like a king and queen saying I don't need knights in my kingdom. You do need knights, okay? No king and queen is making it without their knights. Like they're not. So look at all the things that you're doing that's like an outsider. That's like you being on the outside. Even if you don't see much money coming from it yet, it's like a knight in your kingdom. Regardless. Okay? It's still keeping you nourished and fed. It's still keeping your heart chakra, your air and your fire chakra is still staying nourished and fed. Okay? Spiritually. So the creator told me never ever sacrifice your gifts. It doesn't matter how hard time gets. Doesn't matter what financial situation you're in. Never ever quit them. Doesn't matter if you think that you're losing your touch in doing it. Okay, the insiders, they will sacrifice their artistic talent in a minute. They want a lot of things fast. Okay? If you ever go to the artists' groups, there's a lot of people in there that's on the outside. They're being bullied, beat up by their parents, family members. They're being done wrong by toxic employers and all kind of stuff. So, but you know what's crazy? Is the insiders don't even realize that they're actually they're not even as healthy. Okay? They're not even taking care of themselves like you are. They think they are because they're getting fast money and fast this and fast that. But if you ever notice that their personality is toxic. So that's why they're not taking care that's why they're not taking care of themselves as much as you. The fact that they're so quick to sacrifice their artistic gifts means that they're not taking care of themselves. Okay.
So we take some natural red or crimson paint.
So I'm looking at this video here.
For the head and shoulders.
This guy is painting a person.
Like the top of a carrot. Okay, the brush.
Okay, so he said the top of a carrot. You know what? I'm starting to realize in watercolor that it does matter. When I'm talking about watercolor, it does matter whether you do shapes. You have to look at the shape of things. It's like any other painting exercise. So he said do a carrot as the top. See what I'm gonna do here. So I'll do mine's. I'm gonna do mine's as this color. I think I'm gonna experiment with another color with it. Some of y'all probably like, I never knew Miss V liked watercolor. I've been liking doing watercolor since I was a little kid.
In the water, we'll go for this strong natural grey here. Beautiful colour for this kind of thing. Just wipe that on the side. So you've got a nice pointy brush. And then we'll drop
carrot top.
The legs, pop the head on of this person. So it's
See, this is how I use YouTube.